And I don't see a way for them to win a late game teamfight stress.
Well, we're going to have to keep track. It's always about the execution as we load onto Wild Rift. It is game number 1 of the Wild Rift EMEA Championship, Wygers versus ZERØZONE. And Wygers going to 5-man stack, try and get the ward down for initial vision. Expect fast fights compared to PC League of Legends, those of you that are new. This is a push into mid lane just to try and get a little bit of presence in a matchup where Garen's going to get harassed down quite a lot of time between these two teams. But it is going to be first gank potential for Graves on this bottom side if he comes into lane, but really hard to gank the Orianna Braum. Like, they have so much zone control. They're going to try it. They're going to try and make it work. Flash forward into the bottom lane with Galio, not quite enough. They will get a flash out from Orianna though, who big summoner used.
Yeah, and RNATION just flashes away, you know, he's like, I don't want to deal with it. But in the mid lane, if we look at Cefiro on the RE, he can just easily push out the Garen if he wants to, but we have a fight in the jungle.
Oh, fighting over first crab of the game on bottom. There's the charm, lands onto Graves. They're going to get damage down as the taunt does land on 3. Corki not quite into the fight yet. First blood goes over to Fran on that Braum. A big first fight already early on in this game.
Yeah, big fight already early on. We see the Fiora and the Camille fighting. There's really not that much happening right there. The problem that I have with Wygers is that Mikkele is going to have a very hard time pushing out that mid. And as you can see, Ari is rotating yet again while he has a wave under his turret.
Yeah, and Patterson's here as well, as is Lubunya on that Lee Sin. And Lee Sin is just like, ZERØZONE are going to do exactly what you were talking about. They heard the Corki package sound. They're going to handshake these objectives. That's kind of how we refer to it when, you know, red side take one, blue side take the other. These early ones, don't fight over if you don't need to. So it's going to be Rift Herald going over to ZERØZONE, Ocean Drake going over to Wygers. So we're in this phase of the game now where a lot of the time the bot lane carries or the dragon lane carries will sit in the middle lane.
But they've swapped lanes. Interestingly, they've swapped lanes.
Yeah, there's a full swap here with those duo lanes heading towards mid. Now it's going to be a roam up towards the top side. Graves is going to get spotted out with the ball from Orianna, but they actually don't want to engage because that Galio ult can bring Galio into the fight and even the numbers up so quickly. It's in Wild Rift, like, normally you've had like 3 team fights by this point. So I think any composition that has like an Ari and a Lee Sin would love to get those early kills. In goes Lee Sin to try and get one for himself, forces the flash out of Corki. We'll see if they can loop back on that, but this is a good opportunity for that Rift Herald.
Yeah, they dropped the Rift Herald, and we can see that Wygers is ready to defend. They're not going to get a turret out of it, very likely. And as we can see, they go in for a fight.
Oh, they do land the taunt on 3 people. Shockwave doesn't really do too much. They're going to throw the Braum ult onto it as well. I think this might be an overextension if they stick around because look, Garen is closing in, as is Camille, although Camille now caught out on the side by Patterson. That's the kill going on to Graves as Lubunya picks up one on the Lee Sin, flashes himself away, and should be able to get back out of this fight now. Oh, Garen locked in position for a little while, will get taken down, and it's all ZERØZONE so far. Overstay because look at that minimap. There's 4 members of Wygers heading bot lane. It's going to be 400 health on this turret as well, so 2 objectives they've not quite been able to secure, and I can just like blow someone up immediately. So fair question to say, but like this gold lead has exploded over the last couple of minutes, so certainly Wygers feeling like ZERØZONE are in full control, but without Wygers fighting, how can they ever get back in this game?
It's going to be really hard for them to get back into the game, except for the perfect engage like we talked about. But yes, as you said, Orianna doesn't have that damage yet, but very, very soon she will. She already has 2 items. She has the Rabadon's Death Cap, and very soon she's going to do insane damage to this composition of Wygers.
Yeah, Patterson's going to try and just get the tower from underneath Camille. Oh, Camille, you can only lock one of them down, and it's not going to be enough as the Sonic Wave does connect, allows Lee Sin to pick that up. Now Galio, a little bit stuck 1 versus 2. The rest of the team are trying to close in on mid lane. A lot of damage to be done to this Garen before you take him out, so this might be a bit of an overreach from the side of ZERØZONE. Maybe they go for the Galio instead. Fiora going to try and get it, but Corki turning damage to that charm. Is it going to land? Will hit onto Corki under the turret, but can't quite put the damage down. Shockwave plus the Braum ultimate, but nothing is quite there to pick up the kill. From being able to pick off 1 target out on a side lane before a fight ever starts, and then coming into a fight and like getting that angle in. But when you're behind, it's so hard to do on Camille.
Yeah, definitely, it's really hard. We see all 5 of them here. They might try to dive, but yeah, they actually go for the Rift Herald push. And the thing is, right now, ZERØZONE, every single one of their members have 2 items, except for the support. But they all have 2 full items. Yeah, Rift Herald doesn't even do anything. Wygers, on the other hand, none of them have 2 items yet. So this is a massive advantage for ZERØZONE. They need to look for the fight now. Like, they need to be the aggressors right here now.
Yeah, and it's so hard when like one of your options is, okay, we drop the Rift Herald and we force somebody to get it, and if they're not all there, maybe we can take a fight. Well, all 5 members are there, the Rift Herald dies, doesn't even get a charge. So really tough spot to be in. Braum is going to get silenced as he's in the brush. Hits the Krug, not really the target he was looking for on that Winter's Bite, but ZERØZONE are going to back themselves away. Fiora on the side lane is so strong compared to Camille. This could end up being a bit of a split push game while the rest of the team disengage. This team setup does lend themselves towards like a 1-4 in PC terms, where like you disengage with the rest of the team while Fiora does work on the side.
Yeah, and I really like that ZERØZONE is doing that, especially in this draft, because we know that Wygers' composition is supposed to have a 5-man fight, right? Camille engages.
We're looking for the top lane tower here, but look, Fiora's already there, Braum's already there. Orianna may be caught though. There are 4 members here surrounded. Can they get a good disengage for a moment from Braum? And how did nobody die there? How did Orianna not get caught out? They still are under the tower, and here comes the rest of ZERØZONE as it's the first kill nearly going over to Fiora. Will get the kill onto Corki, manages to stasis to keep himself alive, and this has gone disastrously wrong for Wygers. It looked so good. It was a 5 versus 3, and it's all 5 members of Wygers dead as ZERØZONE clean ace and take the Baron.
Oh my god, RNATION with the stasis and chant coming in clutch. Wygers thought that they had a free kill right there. As you saw, they all flashed on the Orianna. They all flashed on RNATION. RNATION was like, nah, I'm just gonna stay.
Yeah, that's certainly not a free pick. It looked like it. It should have been, maybe, but that stasis, too strong, too powerful to keep Orianna alive. That's one of the most frustrating things when you're trying to like go on one person and they stay alive. A clean ace, 9 kills to 0. 0 turrets taken by Wygers to the 3 so far from ZERØZONE, and now that they have the Baron buff, these towers are going to melt very, very quickly. Top tower already down. They'll focus next on mid tower, and look, the health bar's already half health. Lee nearly hit Corki, looking like he was going to go in. A little bit of flashy dash back out with that safeguard, but here Wygers are going to throw one last roll of the dice. Ari is taking an inhibitor at the same time on the bottom side, so all it was a little tease around the base. It wasn't quite enough to actually get a fight started, and that first inhibitor of the turret is down.
Wow, ZERØZONE is just playing this perfectly. Wygers has no chance, and Garen just gets caught and dies. Wygers has no chance. They have no chance to win this game. Like,
it's gone from bad to worse from Wygers. They haven't been able to put a single kill on the board. Not even the Nexus is going to secure a kill for them, as the stasis is enough to keep them at 12-0 for now. It is the Nexus falling as ZERØZONE are going to nearly perfect game. Right, in thinking like Kha'Zix, you expect to have a little bit more in the early game when it comes to damage. Olaf a little bit more in the later game.
Yeah, definitely. Olaf has very good late game presence, and we see the same thing coming through from Wygers. Dip is, it can reveal Kha'Zix. If you use your ult on Kha'Zix, your chain is going to be on him, and if he becomes invisible, you can still see where he is. So your chain will basically reveal where the Kha'Zix is, and it's just such a good pick for ZERØZONE to pick that Morgana in this draft.
That's a really interesting point that I know, like, it's the same when you play Kai'Sa into Akali or any like invisibility champion and they get confused why they're revealed. I love those little interactions that do that. But nevertheless, this early game, we're seeing Garen run down Darius, and we need to keep in mind this is a first pick Garen as well. So, oh, that's first blood going over to ZERØZONE. That's a bit of a disaster. Looks like it was done. Yeah, they're up against somebody who's like, okay, I can build a lot of armor, I can get some tankiness and deal a decent amount of damage as well. There's quite a lot of like execute potential for a moment. And we are back into the game for Rift Herald spawn. Ooh, we might get a fight over Rift Herald here. Look at how everyone's tracking on the minimap.
Yeah, ZERØZONE is gonna take that fight. Like, you can tell. You know, they're not like Wygers. They're aggressive. This is an aggressive team. They see that they can win this fight. They're not even gonna give them the Rift Herald, right? Like, you could argue that they could have just taken the dragon and be like, fine, let's take the dragon and go back. But here you can see, this is what you're supposed to do with a composition that can win. This is what Wygers should have done in the first game, and here they are. Like, they're taking this fight, and they should have an advantage.
Yeah, here comes the Pantheon ultimate as he makes his entrance into the fight. There's a low health target on the side for Zed to pick off Corki. That's one of those carries early taken out already. Rift Herald down to 1100 health. It will be taken and stolen by Kha'Zix, but how will the fight go as the double executes just all around the place for ZERØZONE? They pick up that Pantheon, they take 3 all other times.
Yeah, definitely. And they don't have to, really, because if that Morgana gets to the late game, Garen, Olaf, you know, they have quite a solid late game composition. But you could argue that Wygers also has quite a solid late game composition. The only problem is, though, Galio is quite behind. He doesn't have that much gold. Garen actually killing off the Pantheon Patterson in the bot lane, by the way, pushing the turret as well. Next Rift Herald is spawning. This is massive pressure on Wygers right now.
Yeah, looks like he killed him under the tower as well. So this is now the gambit from Wygers. Do they pick the engage around the Rift Herald and hope that they take it? Or do they kind of deal with the Garen? With a member missing, it's going to have to be Pantheon's choice when he comes back up. Garen's going to reset and look to get back out on the map for Rift Herald. Now, Pantheon will join quicker, but they haven't seen that Garen's recalled. And that is this moment where you have to pick and choose.
Yeah, and honestly, this is again a really hard team fight to take for ZERØZONE. It's going to be really, really hard for them to engage, and it's just better for them to drop it. Because as you can see, the Corki package, and as you can see, they drop it and there's a fight.
Yeah, this fight shouldn't really happen now. The objective is gone, but that's massive damage coming down from Patterson to start this fight off. And Pantheon, however, has taken out Thresh's Fran, is already down to respawn. And this is the problem, is you cannot afford to take a fight when the objective is gone against the team. The team fights better than you, but a killing spree for Patterson, and it is all on this first pick, Garen. Changes from these fights, and just the amount of gold. Like, Garen is the one that is holding all of the lead right now, with nearly 2,000 gold up on this Darius.
Yeah, he's holding up all the lead. Yeah,
fight him as they are closing in, but that won't be enough for a kill.
Yeah, you can't really fight a Darius like that, even though you're super ahead, because Darius wins against Garen in the longer run. Of course, Garen wins in the shorter one. So even though he's super ahead, even though Patterson is super ahead on that Garen, he knows that he shouldn't take that fight with the Garen, because there's really no reason to.
Yeah, you can see he's even trying to itemize a little bit towards the AD that you're talking about. He's got that Ramble Vest, pretty standard anyway, but will be cutting through the healing, at least, of Darius, and has a lot of armor alongside it. That's an engage onto RNATION, who's forced to stasis with the ultimate running though, and there is that Morgana ultimate. Zone control just blocks 3 members of Wygers from getting into it. Darius didn't get the execute off the ultimate, so that execution doesn't reset. He ends up dropping from it as well, and now they're chasing down Zero. Now they're chasing down the Corki. Galio is going to enter the fight, but look, there's no health. Here comes Pantheon as well. Everybody coming in from the sidelines is tagging in, and out of this one, Zed does manage to convert the kill onto Corki, and now it's round forced to get spun on by Garen, and Mikkele is gonna drop as well. It's all ZERØZONE.
The opportunity, and especially with this build, with the 3 items as you mentioned on RNATION, it's gonna be incredibly hard for Wygers to deal with. And right now, even if Corki gets a package, ZERØZONE can just take this fight. They can very easily take this team fight, and of course they're gonna do that.
Oh, Dark Binding is going to land. Graves, Garen, I should say, dodges out the taunt. Doesn't quite get the kill off the ult, but it's enough to take the kill as Thresh was, well, Galio was running back out of this one. They're going to flay back on to Xtrem, and here comes Pantheon, but is it going to be enough to turn this one around? There's some damage, but it's surely not enough, as here comes Morgana with the chains landing, walking the dogs all the way back to the base, as that is another clean ace. Baron lane, 3,000 from mid lane, 2,000 from Dragon lane carries as well. Even 1,500 gold lead on the supports at this point. That's how far ahead ZERØZONE are. And with this Baron buff, they're going to be able to deny a lot of the ability for Wygers to de-push. But it's 3 versus 5 in the middle lane, as Pantheon is going to find the way on to RNATION. Stasis once again is going to ruin Pantheon's day and get RNATION out of this one. That's the kill onto Darius. No more teamfight resets on this game, as ZERØZONE are just cleaning everything off the Rift here. It's only Foulen and Zero that survive, and with the Baron minions going to come through from ZERØZONE, this surely has to be it.
Wow, unbelievable. I say it again, but RNATION, what are you doing? Have some mercy on Wygers. The stasis enchant plus the ultimate again. Wygers can just not do anything against it. Yet again, they just can't. They cannot do anything against the stress.
Yeah, this is insane when you look at, like, so much of the team fight is around that initial few seconds and getting a pick, and Stasis just shuts it down completely. 2 lanes of super minions are going to be pushing in now as the rest of the Baron buff comes through. Patterson going to go under the Nexus, but that Nexus does bite, and the low health bars would be enough for Wygers to pick off and turn back around, but legendary goes Patterson as Foulen runs afoul of this Garen. ZERØZONE come back away, set up for this Dragon, and look to take the game.
Oh god, man, this is just an absolute abomination. So the early game, Wygers did a really good job, and I want to give them massive credits for that. You know, they did a great job playing this game, but late game, we can just see the team that's better, which is obviously ZERØZONE right here. You know, the macro games, they've constantly been pushing out lanes. They know how to fight. They know how to execute their composition. They buy the right items, right enchantments, everything. It just stacks on top of each other, which allows ZERØZONE to just seemingly very easily win this game, Stress.
Yeah, it seems like it. Hells, do you wanna see if I can curse in action here? Because I'm about to say I think Patterson and RNATION are gonna end this series with 0 deaths between them.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see how much power we have on day 1 of this broadcast, because that would be an impressive feat across 2 games of Wild Rift to go unkilled. But nevertheless, I mean, Dragon's already gone down. I don't even think we're going to see Elder Dragon at this point, but if we do, it will be a cloud. I think ZERØZONE, if they just find one catch on this bot lane while the top supers are pushing in, it's going to be really, really hard for Wygers to actually take the fight. And that's what ZERØZONE are doing. They're like, okay, bot lane, it's the only place we can be. Let's set up vision in jungle, push on that tower.
Yeah, and really the only way for Wygers to win the fight right now would be the Darius. And we can see he's 0-4. And the problem is the Morgana stasis just doesn't allow the Darius to use his ultimate. He cannot use it on the Morgana. And then the only ones left are either super tanky targets or the Zed. And Zed is also quite an annoying target to follow. So it's just not the composition to play with Darius. It's really hard to get that ultimate reset.
Yeah, oh, there's a Dark Binding onto Galio. It's going to be enough to at least force some tools to be used as Galio and Pantheon. It's one last roll of the dice here, and they're trying to get this team fight to work, but Darius has already fallen, and the rest of ZERØZONE are going to fall in line as well. Wygers are going to get taken out of this one. All 5 members still alive on ZERØZONE. They're going to say, screw the Baron. We'll take the series 2-0, and that is a very impressive performance from ZERØZONE.
Very, very impressive. Like, really, really impressive. Not just impressive, very impressive. Look at the Garen, by the way.
How many tower shots is he going to take?
He's
That's
just chilling.
insane. ZERØZONE close out our first series of the Wild Rift EMEA Championships. 2 games to 0.